I'm Stephanie.
I'm Meredith.
And I'm Heather.
And welcome to This Is My Circus. As you know, because of the intro, we have our guest today. So we are super excited to have you.
Very happy to have Heather here. Heather's been a friend of both of ours for a very long time.
Yes.
Yep,
Another football mom.
Football. Yeah. Our babies were bobbleheads first year, putting on football helmets.
Yep.
And bumping into each other on the football field. And,
Yep.
And
Absolutely.
I immediately loved y'all because you're Eagles fans.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I am an Eagles fan. So it was so nice in the South.
Just to find some more.
Just as crazy, right?
Yeah. I remember that first year, not much because I was just so overwhelmed with everything. But I remember you guys specifically at the Kings Mountain game.
In the rain.
In the rain.
The
Do you remember that game,
Polar.
Steph, by chance?
It was the only one we won.
It wasn't exactly. That's probably why I remember it so well, because it was the only one we won. And gosh, yeah, I'll never forget that day and that feeling and watching those kids and watching Juicy and Jackson and Dylan out there. And I probably couldn't even tell who was who because they all looked the same. Yeah. I probably did, at that point didn't even know the difference between defense and offense.
Me neither.
But sometimes I still get confused. Jackson laughs at me because I make up names of things. Like a safety, I think should be a tackle back.
That
Awesome.
It makes sense.
Because they tackled him in the backfield.
Yeah.
Yes, but we're going to call that the tackle box. It's not the backfield now. It's the tackle box.
Oh, see?
Huh.
I'm always learning.
That's great. So when I met my husband, I hated sports.
Yeah.
Could not stand football, basketball. That's all he watched. Hated them. And so, like, our family grew up until the Panthers came along. They were Cowboys fans,
Of course.
And so I had like a Cowboys fan. Yeah, all right. I know. I learned my way.
You learned.
But yeah. So I had one Cowboys shirt I used to wear to work. People would like roast me. Oh my God, Cowboys. And so I met Adam when we started getting serious. We lived together.
Mm-hmm.
And I went from like, oh man, I wish this man would quit watching sports. I hate football. I hate basketball. Why does he always go college now too? Oh my God. So then eventually it got to where I would find myself watching like football with him on Sundays.
Yep.
And I would be laughing when his team would lose, the Eagles. I'm like, oh, they lost. I didn't know what a flag was. At the same time, I'm learning the game. I'm like, well, what'd they throw that flag for? Oh, that's a false start. Oh, okay. So I'm learning.
Yeah.
And so then I got to where I realized that anytime they lost, like our weekend was ruined. So I would start cheering for them. I'm like, okay, let's go Eagles. Come on, please win. Go green team.
We want to go to dinner tonight with the good attitude. Please win. Yeah.
And then as it progressed, we got married. We had Juicy. And then when Juicy started playing sports, that's when I became like,
I can't imagine Heather with no sports in her life.
Yeah.
You were so boring.
I was so boring.
I mean, I'm still boring, but
I totally am.
Yeah, but it was good. Like that's why I tell everybody the story when they're like, "Oh, you used to be a Cowboys fan." No, I used to not know nothing about sports.
Right.
That was the only shirt I had with any sports logo on it, so I would wear it. But now I've come to my senses and picked a team. And
they're rivals, right? They're in the same conference.
Yeah,
so that's
division
They
rivalry.
hate each other.
Plus, everybody hates the Cowboys except for the Cowboys fans.
Very
Sorry
true.
if there's any out there. No disrespect.
I'm not a Cowboys fan.
But yeah, so now like especially at work, I'll find myself like the guys will come to me and they'll be talking about the games and stuff on the kid, and like I can carry a conversation on like I can I would fill out I think these are illegal, so maybe edit this part out, but I would parlay cards, like we would put money on the game and stuff. And I had no promise y'all during football season last year. I had one card where every one of my predictions was 100% right.
Wow.
I won everybody's bloody. So
we should do a girl one of those this year.
Yeah.
Do you know I barely watched football since the Eagles won the Super Bowl?
Were you just on that on top? You were like, we won, football is over.
We're done. I can walk away.
When like business really like consumed my entire life.
I got you.
And I'm like, well, we finally got the Super Bowl. I'm good.
Yeah.
You guys can stop now.
We're good.
That's funny.
But like being a sports mom on the weekends, and I know lacrosse and all of that. I mean, it's hard to catch games. Like on Saturdays, we don't get to watch any. Like I would record I like Clemson. Yeah. So I would record the Clemson games, and then on the Sundays, like the Eagles, 9 times out of 10 we're recording them. And by the time we can actually watch them, we're too tired. So we might catch it a couple days later, and then it's not as fun because you already know who won.
Yeah.
So.
What did you do?
I was just laughing at Dylan.
Oh, hey Dylan.
Hi, Dylan. We borrowed your chair, so
I'm sorry.
You just wanted Dad's extra ones in there. You need it.
It's
2 thumbs up. No.
Did he give a thumbs up?
He gave 2 thumbs. Sure, Heather.
Somebody juicy. Double thumbs up is a thing.
Heather, we have pictures of Heather that does it. Like, she'll be posing with like pro football players,
like the Panthers,
and she'll be like 2 thumbs up. So it's a funny thing.
It was like, did I do it? Like I just did it at Juicy's graduation, the 8th grade graduation the other night. He was sitting there. I caught him, kept giving me the side eye, like looking up at us. And so at the end, right after he walked and he sat back down, I was like, he looked away from me, and the girl beside him was laughing so hard.
That is funny.
So when Dylan played football, you know, because they can't hear on the field,
no,
unless it's like one of those really crazy moms.
Like,
and then
who?
I know some of them, but none of them are in this room. We have exciting news about basketball.
Yes.
I saw yesterday, but let's announce.
Okay, so our AAU team, the War Eagles, where Jackson and Juicy are on the same team, played this weekend in a tournament in Lake Wiley called the Memorial Day Classic. Is that right, Heather?
Lake Wiley
and they won the gold championship.
It's kept it at home.
Yep. So and it was that last game was an amazing game.
Yes.
It was like back and forth the entire game.
And Juicy even said after we were leaving, he was like, after all the excitement went down, and he was like, Mom, he was like, you know, Crush Elite's kind of becoming our rivals. I was like, yeah, because it's not even like them swapping baskets back and forth, but the fans, like we always do our defense chants. Like we're like defense, the crowd gets in, so bang on the bleachers. I have a bruise to prove it. Like,
oh my gosh, Heather.
So we get loud, and then they're on defense. They try to do it. You know, their fans try to mimic ours, and then we'll hit a 3 in their faces and kind of quiet that down a little bit or something.
And then they'll do it back to us. But it was really one of those games where just the lead kept swapping back and forth, and it was tied a lot, and it was intense from start to finish. And all those kids, both teams, gave like everything they had. So it was exciting.
And if it wouldn't have been for Jackson's and one at the end, like I'm telling you, I think we would have went into overtime, maybe even lost the game because he took that and one.
He got lucky.
Give him his credit, Mom.
He did good.
And he's learning to dunk. Like that's awesome. We have like, I love it. I see this. I don't even know where it came out of. Like I'm like, have I missed a couple months or something?
I know.
It seems like when Juicy was learning it, there was like months of trying.
I don't know. Well,
I never even saw Jackson try before.
He is the white mama. That's what he calls himself. But speaking of dunking, is Juicy's hand okay?
That's what I was going to ask. I saw that on Facebook. But
he grabbed the rim when he was dunking, and so 2 hands is new for Juice, right?
Yes.
So he grabbed it, and this is what I'm always worried about, like their fingers getting tangled up in a rope or whatever happens up there. So what happened was the game started. I was sitting like in the corner about the team because I like to try to record. So I was sitting over there, and he came over there. Miss Meredith, you got a Band-Aid. Anyway, all I had was like monsters Band-Aids, like eyeballs and stuff.
Like lime green.
Right.
Like lime green sports tape. It looks so good.
Like that?
He was fine with it.
Yeah, because we bought him brown yesterday, and he was mad. He was like, why can't I use Miss Meredith? So I was like, Miss Meredith's back here. We got to get this wrapped before the game. Like,
well, you know, they get so sweaty and so gross. And so I was like, this is not going to stay. So I had like 3 Band-Aids on it all the time, all the while like watching the court because it was a timeout.
It was a special timeout.
Right.
It was one of those games.
It was one of those parents yelling at the coach, the referee.
Is that what was going on?
Yes, you didn't know?
I was too busy taking care of your son's fingers. We didn't have to amputate.
So that's the only reason I knew. Like I kept seeing him hold his finger and kept looking at it and wiping it on it, but I didn't realize that he was bleeding and stuff until this special timeout when there was the parents for the other team were like yelling at the ref, like the lady was cussing at him, and so the ref called a timeout, and he asked them to get the administrator out in the hallway. So the next game after our championship yesterday, the score was wrong. So apparently the referees, like it was like 5-6 minutes into the game, and they were those guys on the scoreboard were giving the points to the wrong team. So the score was right, but it was backwards, like home and guest.
Okay.
And so the fans started getting like irate, and one of the guys got up out of the stands. He walks like over there to where the past the refs, past the game to the scoreboard, and he yells at them, "Y'all need to get the effing score right." And those guys are like, "What?" So let me back this up a little bit. These 2 guys on the scoreboard are high school basketball players.
Right.
They're there because Coach Jackson asked for help this weekend. He like runs a score. I'll give you like X dollars a game, like nothing. They're there, you know, volunteering their time on the weekend to make sure that these scoreboards get ran right. Okay. And so the guy walks past them. He goes over there to the administrators and he's like yelling and talking junk to them. And the coach for the blue team, he looks over at the administrator and he was like, "You need to tell these idiots to get the score right."
And they're kids.
And the referee was like, "Hold on a minute, these are kids." He was like, "These are kids that you're talking to." And the guy was like, "I don't care." So it got so ugly. And then next thing we know, I promise you, the taller ref that was refing the game. So this is not funny.
We can tell it's really serious.
Like, we know this guy that had came out of the stands like this like big dad bod.
Yeah.
Had a red cap. Like like he was going grilling after he left out of there. So he's like getting the administrator. He's yelling at the administrator about, "Y'all need to get these refs, blah, 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 blah." Well, the one ref turned around and like all you see was his fist balled up and he was like, "Say something else. You're not gonna come and talk to me." Like he was getting his face and he was like, his fists are back here, but he's like he's gonna hit
somebody
the guy.
Invisible was holding him back.
The guy that was over it was like trying to break it up. He was like, "Just go sit back down." Coach Jackson stood up and like yelled at the guy in the crowd. He was like, "Hey, you have another problem with these two right here. You talk to me. You don't talk to my players. You talk to me." And that guy was like, "Okay."
He's a big dude.
He's a big dude, and he was mad. He kept staring at that guy. Like you could see, like he would look at his phone, shake his head, he would look back up. Like,
well, good for him though, because
I love that. They need that protection. Like it's always scary when your kids play for a coach. You don't know if you can trust. Well, I mean, we've been lucky, and so to know, like to see that, like I just
he's
know
he's
got those kids back. Yeah, so I love that.
Now, is Crush Gastonia?
No, I don't know where
they're out of South Carolina. For some reason, I'm thinking Spartanburg, but I'm only
thinking Orangeburg because they're
orange. I thought that same thing.
They look like orange, probably like the crushed sodas. Okay, and we crushed their dreams.
I asked because remember I told you about the fight on the field with the cross. But that team was called the Crush, and they're out of Gastonia.
They do football too. Yeah,
and because I thought of that too. Yeah. Look, but I do know Jackson's exhausted because that dude in that last game was
huge.
Big.
He's huge. And
except with the big
he does. And big doesn't bother him as long as they're not too fast. Like he doesn't mind pushing them around, but he was tired.
But I have a tendency to stalk teams and
edit this stuff.
So after the game, I was on their page because I was really just trying to figure out where they're from because Juicy said that I told him before they're out of Winston-Salem, but I don't remember that. And so I was just Googling. Yes. And so I'm Googling trying to figure it out. And I ended up finding that big boy.
Yeah.
Yeah. I found him like his, And so I went on his dad. I found his dad.
Dad's she could join. Oh, she would be the president of our Biafra.
She got a good future business.
I think so. I'll do the undercover work.
Right.
I feel like I could blend in really good.
Yeah.
I would love to wear disguises though.
Yeah.
That would be awesome.
And you do all the stalking.
Yes.
Alleged stalking.
Well, look, the kid's he just turned 14 last month. So I was thinking like he's huge, but I was thinking it's another Jackson. Like everybody sees Jackson, they're like, "Oh man, that's not fair. He's big," and it's not. Like he's a baby too.
Yeah.
And I bet he looks more like he's got the mustache. It's crazy because I wouldn't.
Because you saw the birthday post on social media. Did you tell him happy birthday?
No, I didn't. I'm ended out there incognito. Like he never knew I was there.
Do you have a fake profile?
Wait, Meredith, did you know that part of stalking is to not make yourself known, right?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah, you can't like it.
I'd have on the glasses with the mustache and the nose, being like, "Happy birthday!"
You can't go into church in Alabama like that.
No, because it is against the law.
Yes.
That's against the law.
That's crazy.
Dumb laws.
Yes.
Oh my goodness.
I've got some too.
So in Mississippi, you're talking about the church. In Mississippi, it's against the law to disrupt any church service. So you can get a fine. Yeah, you can get a fine.
I saw that too.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Why? I wonder how much were they disrupting that they needed to put that in right away?
So many questions with all of these laws.
Yeah.
Like so many questions.
I thought this dumb law was funny.
Okay.
Or strange. According to one town's laws, any groom-to-be must prove himself manly. Y'all saw this one too?
Yes.
And it makes no sense. Okay, so he either has to hunt and kill 6 blackbirds or 3 cows. How is that one or the other? Like 3 cows?
Should it be the other way around?
Or
Like
6
maybe.
But it'd be easier, and we're going to get in trouble by the animal rights.
I know.
But I would think it'd be easier to get the cows. They got to be slower.
3 big cows or 6 little 2-pound birds.
Is there okay, here's my question. Is there ways that you are allowed to go about it and ways you're not? Like, do you have to use like tools?
Right. Various.
That's a good
Is
question.
there like a serial killer like kit in the area that
So
you have to go find? Like, I don't.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't have all of your answers.
I know these are.
I'm not even going to promise I'm going to research that.
I just want to see the reactions of the men when they lay all these dead carcasses in front of their like bride to be, and they're like, "Hey, honey, will you marry me?" Yeah, that's a deal breaker. Sorry, buddy.
Right, you only got 5 blackbirds and 1 pigeon, so no.
Sorry, I'm vegan.
Yeah.
Or Tweety Bird.
Yeah.
Right.
Did you find one, Steph?
I did. Let's see. You may not fish using an Uzi.
Good to know. Good to know.
Mississippi law.
Wow.
Well, I guess with the cattle thing, like you can't steal the cattle because that can invoke a hanging. So
Right.
you have to buy the cow and.
Did you know that if you walk a dog in Mississippi, it's illegal for it to not have a diaper on?
I did see that, and I was like, "That's disgusting." Like, no, I've changed enough diapers in my life.
Yeah.
I also have a dumb criminal.
Me too.
You do too, Heather. Were you able to find
I found one.
Okay, so I'll go. You got 2. Okay, you do one. Which one you want to?
No, it's the same criminal.
Oh.
Same crime.
Same
2 criminals. Yep. So in this situation, 2 Mississippi men tried to scam the state lottery. They took a losing lottery ticket for $100,000 and they glued the winning numbers at the top. So then they turned it in. Yeah, so this was back in 2020. They submitted it to the lottery, and then when they realized what happened, they called the police. They're like, "Hey, these 2 guys just did that." So yeah, both of them ended up getting charged with like tampering with a lottery ticket.
Oh
and
my!
So they, so they and what was crazy?
Is that a felony?
Yes, and what was crazy is like combined what their bail ended up being was like what they would have won.
Oh,
50,000 each. Yeah, so they ended up paying it. That's about as dumb as you get.
Yeah, that is.
Unless it worked.
Yeah. Well, and some of these are like
scan tickets now. Like, don't you have to scan them?
Well, that wasn't that long.
No,
yeah.
I feel like it's like back then it was still like scan.
I feel like it should have been, but I don't play the lottery a lot.
Well, there's another one. It is funny.
Okay.
It's not either one of y'all's, but 2014, 30-year-old Roger Beasley Jr. He was driving. This is you. I'm so sorry.
No, go ahead. Do it.
So he was driving down the road. The cops got behind him. They were going to pull him over just for a normal traffic violation, and instead of pulling over, he decided to flee from the cops, and he ran right into their police academy training.
Oh my gosh.
Yes,
that's pretty funny.
That's pretty dumb.
That's pretty funny.
But he also had charges for distributing crack cocaine, resisting arrest, careless driving, and his bond was $51,670.
Sometimes the numbers that these people come up with, I'm just like, what? Okay, so mine's a little different. It has nothing to do with cars. It has nothing to do with the lottery. It has to do with stupid people, though. Right? So Nathan Mark Hardy took the love of seafood to a new level. While shopping in a grocery store, the 35-year-old saw some lobsters and shrimp that he just couldn't resist. So what did he do? He put it in his cargo shorts. That's right. He tried to leave the store with 2 live lobsters and 2 bags of jumbo shrimp stuck into his shorts.
That is
2 live lobsters.
That is a shrimp boil. I do not want to think about it.
I am glad that it went into the cargo short pockets. I'm assuming. And not down his pants like the alligator.
Oh, very true. Very true. Very true. We talk about animals a lot.
Speaking of alligator, I don't know if y'all saw this, but I saw it on TikTok. And this just happened. True story. You can look it up. I don't know where it happened at. No, Florida. It was definitely Florida. It had to be Florida. So she called 911 panicking because her 15-year-old daughter was at a local swimming hole. I don't know what a local swimming hole in Florida looks like, but for me, it's a bathtub, like in my house with a door locked.
I'm picturing a swamp in Florida, but okay.
Exactly. So she's on this float, and an alligator, like a 9-foot alligator, chases her out of the water. She ends up pulling. There was a tree limb that was hanging down. She jumps on the tree limb, is able to get up in the tree, but now the alligator's like jumping at her, hissing at her, circling her. So the mom called the police and like was screaming, "Please get here! Please hurry! Please get here!" And like I think it said 30 minutes later, the police arrived. They ended up having to shoot the gator. But
oh my
yeah,
gosh,
yeah. But that's
Like,
crazy.
just like
Like
wrap his mouth.
well, they said as soon as the deputy went in there to try to wrangle, like do the like the what is it like the dog pound uses the little leash.
Oh yeah.
As soon as he went in there to try to get that, said that he started attacking try to attack the deputy too. So
it sounds like maybe I here's to get rabies.
I was just gonna ask.
As Jackson would say,
STDs.
STDs. Yes. Oh my gosh.
Poor Jackson.
Oh my gosh. Y'all, these kids are not smart. So that was mean, but it's the truth. Because listen to this. It is the truth. So the 8th graders had an opportunity to go to Washington, D.C. for their trip. Jackson did not go because the only reason he wanted to go was to pick his roommates that he stayed in the hotel with. And I'm like, bro, you do that every weekend at our house. So if they don't want to pay me $600, they can come for a weekend. I'll let y'all figure out which one you want to sleep in. Didn't happen. They still came, but I ain't got no money. So I was like, Jackson was looking at his, apparently it's the thing now for all the kids to have each other on, like, I guess either Snap, they can tell the location, but I think some of them have each other on Life 360.
I told you, Dylan's girlfriend locked him down on there.
Yes. So Jackson's like looked at his one day and he's like, "Oh, I didn't know that Messiah was in Virginia." And I was like, "Why is he in Virginia?" He was like, "Because he went to DC." Now I know that they did have some activities where they went to Virginia, but I was like, "Well, maybe they went to do Virginia, something in Virginia or whatever." He was like, "Well, they're in Virginia." And I was like, "No, baby, they're in Washington, D.C." And he was like, "Well, is that not in Virginia?" And I said, like, no, it's not.
He might have got that from Juicy because Juicy, look, I'm serious. Juicy had a football tournament. It was a Cam Newton tournament. We didn't make it to it, but it was a Washington, D.C. football tournament, and it was held in Springfield, Virginia.
Maybe.
So it's just right down the street.
So Cam Newton isn't smart either, is what you're saying.
I mean, allegedly. So I was like, "Okay, Jackson, it's not there." He said, "Oh, you're right, it's Maryland." And I'm like, "No, it isn't." And he's like, "What state is it in?" I'm like, "It's not in a state, buddy." He's like, "It's got to be in a state." He said, "Is it in Washington?"
Oh God!
I'm like, "No." Okay, so finally, I told him, I was like, "It's not a state."
But for the people, for the people that maybe don't know, where is it exactly?
So it is not in a state. It's a territory.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's exactly. But for those listeners who might not know, thanks for reminding me to tell them. But it is on the border of like Virginia and Maryland. Like it is in that area. The next day is when the kids got out of school early on Thursday, and a bunch of them were meeting to hang out.
Yeah.
And I was like, hey, while you're all here, so Anthony, who I've talked about before, can we just go ahead and reveal his real name?
Let's reveal it.
It's Anthony. And I'm like, "Okay, guys, what state?" Disclaimer: Rex is heavy breathing again. I'm like, "Okay, what state is DC in?" Same thing, Maryland, Virginia, whatever. The only one who got it right was Corbin, and he got it the closest to right. He said it's in a district. So he had one of the right words.
Smart.
So none of our kids who are going into high school, and they also didn't know how many states there were.
100%. I didn't know either, like until I was an adult.
You know what? Maybe it was just one of those things that stuck with me then.
I didn't pay attention in class.
That's okay.
Like I was not. I was too interested in like what was going on after
in the social life.
If I
don't think I ever even left like North Carolina, South Carolina until I was 17. Like
you could still know what the state is.
I also never read a geography book or.
So I'm hearing that I was the nerd of the bunch.
You are the nerd.
I
was too busy stalking people and being in sports.
I was trying to find the next party.
Right?
Oh my gosh! I'm leaving. Speaking of a party, so Heather and I have a story that Steph does not know.
Okay.
We've got a story, and before we reveal the story, we have not looked into we've looked into statute of limitations. So there is a chance.
Already started.
Yeah. So we're just gonna go ahead and say that we're gonna use our names in this situation instead of who it actually occurred with.
Yes. That way it will protect those that were involved in case there is some kind of
lawsuit or arrest or
right. So
outcome.
Do you want to start us off, Heather?
All right, let's start it off. So our our sons, our friend Sylvia, that we met through football, basketball also. She had a daughter that she was actually turning 16, but she was celebrating her quinceanera a year later because of COVID. So they did it a year later.
So that's it's a Mexican celebration for when girls turn 15, I think.
Yeah, they're entering a womanhood, yes. Yeah, and so they had like this whole we were Googling, we were actually texting each other like, hey, I learned that you don't need to do this. I remember Googling was that you're not supposed to wear the same color as the birthday girl because we didn't. They take it like it's so serious. You don't want to be disrespectful at all. Yeah. And that's one of the biggest things you could be disrespectful is if you wear the same color as the birthday girl. So I texted Meredith. I was like, hey, we can't wear royal blue. So, so we were so prepared for this party because neither one of us had ever been.
Right. I'd never even heard of this before.
Yeah. And you know, since I've heard it.
Yeah.
I had never. What'd you say?
Oh, I think I knew it, but maybe through Selena, like watching the movie Selena. I don't know. I don't know if I ever in my real life knew about it.
Yeah, but maybe in your other life,
in my like TV life. I think I've been to one or two. But yeah, so the party, I think it was like 3 or 4. We were supposed to get there until
something like that.
Yeah, so
and it was uber fancy. I'm talking wedding reception. Beautiful. It was beautiful. It was, but I mean like. Not plastic dollar store tablecloths. I mean, like fabric tablecloths, chair covers with the pretty bows on the chairs, very ornate centerpieces. It was glamorous. It was very glamorous.
Yeah, it was beautiful. And then, so we show up with our sons. Super awkward. Like, first of all, they're already mad that they're not able to wear athletic clothes.
Right.
It's like, bro, why do I got to wear pants, bro? Right. Why can't I wear like?
I just want to wear my crocs. Right, pretty much.
So they're aggravated with that. So we're there, and then first of all, we didn't realize that like the birthday girl is going to be way later. So we were there like probably way too early, and so we're there, and we're sitting there. Oh, so Juicy and Jackson, maybe edit. They're just staring at each other and looking at the table, and just like me and Meredith stared at each other, looking at the table. We're sitting here, we're waiting on the family to arrive, and they did, and they got her. She was in the her mom and grandma and her aunt.
Because side note, we know nobody other than like the primary family, our table, each other, and then like the birthday girl and her family.
Yes,
like this is a full venue, and we
are lost.
We don't know what's going on.
We're just sitting there like listening to the DJ and the loud music, and we're like,
and we couldn't even talk because we were so close to the DJ.
And the decorations on our table were like bouncing off, like the cups, all that. So it was so fast forward a little bit. It gets ready for the time. The family gets there. She's on her throne. You know, they do the thing where, so she's on her fancy chair, and you're looking beautiful, absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah, she did.
Beautiful. Her brothers, her cousins, her younger cousins, they're walking around putting bottles on each table, right? So he put down 4 cups for me, Meredith, Jackson, Juicy. And these are not small glasses. Let me just throw that out there.
They were not small glasses.
So he sets a bottle of Spanish drink in front of us, and me and Meredith both look at him. We're like, hey, what is this? This is alcohol. No, this is not alcohol. This is sparkling water. He was like, the family's the only one.
Cider.
Cider, yes. He was like, the family's the only one allowed to drink alcohol. He was like, the family gets all alcohol. He was like,
which makes sense to me because I was like, okay, that's more expensive. This is cheaper. That makes sense. I do the same thing. Perfect. Now, remember, let's just backtrack. It's us 4 only sitting in an 8-seat table. They're speaking a language that none of us understand.
We're the only white people there.
Right.
I'm going to throw that out there too. Like,
absolutely.
Like her mom calls us the gringas.
Yes.
Like she calls us that. We're like the white women.
And so, I mean, it is just, we are just really dependent on everybody else to make sure we are not.
And so that's what Anthony said. And I was like, well, when, give us a little, what we're supposed to do. He was like, just watch what everybody else does. He said, after she dances, he was like,
great advice for a 14-year-old. Right?
He was like, you'll pour your drinks and then everybody will toast to the birthday girl and then you'll drink it. We're like, okay, great. I think we asked him like twice or 3 times. Are you sure this is water? This is cider, whatever.
Right.
Yes. No, it's not alcohol. Okay, great.
Perfect. So
go ahead.
We're sitting there and still awkward. I mean, our boys are literally, I've never seen them like this. I'm sure they're not like this in school. They were nervous and just sitting there. They weren't even talking to each other. They weren't on their phones. They weren't doing it. They were just like
staring.
Pretty much. They're so freaked out. So we poured our drinks. They do the toast and whatever. And I've not taken a sip yet, but Jackson does. And, Jackson's a very picky drinker, eater, whatever. He doesn't drink tea, soda, nothing like that. So he took a sip and he was like, or I think he just like maybe got some on his lips. And he was like, ugh. It's like, it's rude to not do it, whatever. And I was like, drink the whole thing. So he does. And at the same time, we do. And we're like, this is alcohol.
Champagne.
So we got the good stuff. And I forced my child to drink the good stuff.
And it was like a tall,
like a big flute.
It was a big.
It was full, and it was because it was only us at the table.
It was.
Let's fast forward a little bit to later in the night. Okay.
When the dancing starts.
The dancing starts.
So are they feeling it?
Yeah.
Oh.
So not only just the dances, so there's some formal dancing, but it gets to the point where there's
blood.
There's a wardrobe change where the birthday girl goes and changes clothes because she's in the big princess dress, so she can get down and party.
Yeah, she got down and partied.
So Heather and I walked outside, and we could see in the windows. And our boys who had been sitting by themselves are all of a sudden leading the conga line all over the place.
They had balloon like swords. They were like swinging it.
I swear. They were like the life of the party. Anthony's getting his cousins up there and they're dancing with these beautiful Hispanic girls. And they were just like out there doing the things, and whatever.
Everybody, they were like the life of the party.
They were. Come find out. So
I could tell them they didn't know what those Spanish songs were.
No, all of a sudden they're Hispanic. Those boys are like, call me El Jaxiano. So that was a year ago, right? A year ago. I'm gonna find out. Kids can stay in touch much easier than we were young. When we were young, you met some dude at the beach, forget about it, right? They've got these girls on their Snap. They stay in touch with these girls. Or the girls are staying in touch with them. I don't know exactly which direction
This wasn't part of the demise of the girlfriend, was it?
No. But I'm like, oh my.
It was so bad. It was so bad at the time. Me and Meredith were like, oh my God, we're going to go to jail. Oh my God.
Yeah.
The defensive and offensive captain of our football team were
and they were.
So, and technically, we did not give alcohol to minors.
Right.
So, I'm hoping we're still safe. We were, that night, we did not laugh. I promise you.
No.
We were outside, like, we're going to go to jail. Like, what are we going to do? Should we call our husbands?
Right.
And
I was like, I can't tell Brian I gave his child booze.
Yes.
So much better parents than I am, because I would have been like, well,
ride the wave.
I'd join them on the dance floor.
So by the time we walked up the side of the building and get back in to the front where we can see through the window. It was.
We tried to get them out of there before it started showing.
It didn't work. So then we just sat on the outside and watched it all unfold.
And it was so funny because we were also the people near us. They had bottles of tequila, and we're like, please keep away from the kids. It was hilarious because I can see at this point them shot. So bad. And, for the longest, we didn't this story stayed
right here. Right here.
And then, we didn't even tell the mom of the birthday girl.
Did the boys know?
Yes. Okay.
Yes.
Oh yeah, they knew. They knew that night. As soon as it happened, we were like, "That's alcohol." We both were choking on our drinks to try to, but we couldn't stop them because they downed it that fast. So.
It was like medicine. They were just trying to get it in.
Get it done with.
We were yelling at them. I know I yelled at them. I don't remember if you did, but
I don't remember that part.
I do. Don't be rude.
Yeah.
So, anyway.
Yeah, but it was.
Do you want to hand me my Mom of the Year certificate now?
I know.
And I'll tear it in half and share it with Heather.
It was that you didn't do it intentionally.
No,
you did
not
a pass on that one.
No.
But Dylan's teacher came over after school one day. She was picking something up from the house, and so we were sitting at the table talking, and it was his teacher from the year before. So Dylan was like, "Oh my gosh," he loves all his teachers.
Yeah,
when he was little.
Yeah,
not so much anymore. But so we were talking, and something came up about wine or something, and that child goes, "I tried beer," and I'm like, "You did what?"
Oh my god!
To his teacher, and I was like, "Dylan," and he's like, "What?" And I was like, "When?" And he's like, oh, well, we had that party, that pool party, and I kept bothering Dad, and so to shut me up, he said, "Fine, taste it." And then I asked Brandon about it later, and he's like, "Yeah." He's like, "Well, beer tastes like until you're older, like it tastes gross. Like, it's not like a fruity drink." He's like, "I figured like it would end the conversation."
Right.
And Dylan, I said, "What happened?" He said, "Well, Dylan took a sip and went, pretty good."
Oh my goodness!
It was one sip, and like Brandon was like,
It wasn't like the whole food.
No.
Oh my gosh,
But
it's funny.
But he told his teacher, and I'm like, and she's like, "Don't worry, all the kids have tried it. Like, when they're little, like, they take a sip, leave me alone."
Yeah.
And I was
my gosh, that's funny.
I was mortified.
Yeah. I know. Out of all the people for that, just go tell the preacher too.
Yeah.
Right.
We do need to cover our book.
Yes.
And I know
I gotta sit this one out.
You sit this one out. Okay. That's fine. You just sit there and pet Rex. And we can talk about it. So it was Rock, Paper, Scissors by Alice Feeney.
Yes.
Okay.
Synopsis. Okay. Things have been wrong with Mr. and Mrs. Wright for a long time. When Adam and Amelia went a weekend away to Scotland, Scotland? Like,
I want to go. That's like my first place I want to go to.
Really?
Yeah.
Like, I just think I think it's like spooky haunted is what I like envision.
See, I like spooky haunted. So
Like lots of fog and like creepy stuff.
Well, I mean, outside of like the Caribbean and all that kind of stuff. Like first place I could go that like I have to really fly to get there is somewhere like that.
Okay. So they won the trip to Scotland. It might be just what the marriage needs. Self-confessed workaholic and screenwriter Adam Wright has lived with face blindness his whole life. He can't recognize friends or family or even his own wife. With every anniversary, the couple exchange traditional gifts, paper, cotton, pottery, tin, and each year Adam's wife writes him a letter that she never lets him read, until now. They both know this weekend will make or break their marriage, but they didn't randomly win this trip. One of them is lying, and someone doesn't want to live happily ever after. 10 years of marriage, 10 years of secrets, and an anniversary they'll never forget. So good.
Yeah, I liked it too. Good. So one of the things that I really liked about this book was, I mean, it did go back and forth with like some history and with all the chapters being about the different cotton, tin, whatever. But the whole book itself was just a very short period of time, like days.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So just
the trip. It was the
trip. It was a weekend or whatever.
Yeah, it was like 3 days. Right. Like the whole book.
The whole book from beginning to end was just, so I like books like that. I feel like they move very fast. Yeah. And this book did that really well without giving so much information you get bored.
Yeah.
Because sometimes when it's like that, it's just put every word that they can in there. But this one I thought was really good because it did give enough detail and kept my attention. Yeah. Which apparently I'm noticing is a hard thing for me.
Okay. How do you live with face blind? Like I guess if you're born with it, like you just don't know any different. Yeah. But like I'm trying to picture life not being able to recognize people and like I don't know.
Functioning?
Yeah.
I know.
I don't.
Is it a real thing?
I don't know. I didn't
know either. I didn't know. I didn't know if it was a real thing either. And at first, I was just thinking like everybody looked kind of like you look like you, but he forgets what you look like. Yeah. But then the further we got in the book, it was like it's just blurred. Yeah. Like you can tell his hair,
a blob.
The hair, right? Which is
like you can see colors, you can see like other details, but just not faces. Like it's weird.
Yeah. I didn't really feel how much that tied into the book at first. Yeah. And I was like, it got me again. They always get me at the end. That's not the point. It was interesting. It was interesting though. So I listened to this one.
Yeah. Me too.
You did too?
Yeah.
And really liked the narrator.
Me too.
And there was a part in this book that was really creepy because they're in this Scottish castle thing.
Church. It was an old church.
It was an old church that had been renovated. And
like haunted and stuff.
Yeah. So but she sees a face in the window. Well, I was getting the dogs ready and I was taking them on a walk at night and it was dark and it's like that. And again, a great narrator, that voice is, there was a face. And I was like, oh, come by yourself, Louie. It'll be okay. Come back. I freaked myself out.
Morgan Freeman will do that to you.
Yeah, he's got a great voice too. But just the dramatic pause and stuff, it was really good.
I think the characters were developed really well. And then like the twists with each character. Yes. That I didn't see it coming.
Right.
So I think she did so good developing each character without you knowing that it's the character.
Right. Did you pick on really fast up on how she was signing the letters? was apparently from your face you did not. So apparently with the
your wife.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I was like, how much are we going to give away?
Yeah.
Okay. Because that took me, like, I was not immediately picking up on
No,
that.
I didn't either. And then we keep giving away this.
I know.
But yeah, that made sense because you followed it along.
I think this is one that I would want to read again. Because now that I know who's who and what's what.
Yeah. Well, hold on. So when I was like researching the book a little bit,
there's a series.
Netflix bought it, but they haven't made it yet.
Okay.
But then I was like, oh gosh, like who are they gonna pick for these characters?
I know.
Because like in my head, because I can't see the face, I'm like, well, I can't give it away.
I know. It's always tricky.
Like, are they gonna make the character like beautiful or like homely because you can't see her and you
right?
You know,
and it quote doesn't matter.
Yeah.
That's a good question. I don't know. That is one that I either want to read again or watch it. It was interesting. It was a good one.
I would totally read it again. Loved it.
I would too. So this is the book that I thought we were reading last week. It's why I was so confused, because I started last week's book, which was called I See You, but I had read the synopsis of this book, and it took me a minute to get my trains like on the right track.
Yeah.
And going in the right direction and all that kind of stuff. But it was a good book. Yeah. I would read it again.
Yeah.
10 stars. Yeah. Not 9. I can't give everybody a 10. I can't.
I haven't given out a 10 yet, I don't think.
Yeah.
What'd you give it?
I would say 9. Like I totally would read it again.
It was definitely interesting and different.
Yeah. Totally
it reminded me a little bit of I don't know if you've ever read J.A. Conrath. Creepy stuff. Not into creepy?
No, like I can. It depends on like what kind of creepy. Like there's levels of like, like
all kinds of twisted creepy that you can imagine.
So I know like we kind of talked about this last week about how this stuff's going on in your life and like it has to come from somewhere.
Yeah.
For me, the people that make these like super gory, like crazy, weird movies, like do you not think that there is something wrong with these people that are writing it?
I mean, maybe.
Yeah. Like, to be fair, what was that movie with the little like mannequin guy? Not the I had like the clown dude on the tricycle.
Yeah, Jigsaw.
Yeah. Like that movie. Like after I watched that movie, I was like, this dude, whoever wrote this, needs to like be locked up somewhere.
Like the Terrifier. Juicy and Anthony were like, "Oh, can we watch the Terrifier 2 one night when they're in the house because it just came out?" I'm like, I started like, no.
See, Dylan loves horror. Like, loves horror movies. Like the whole month of October, we will watch every horror movie.
Yeah, I like Netflix
or whatever.
Like, I like ghosts, like all that. Like, my job is haunted. And so, like, I said, my job is so haunted. Like, there have been several deaths, like, years back. First of all, there's an ancient Indian burial ground. Like, they found rock mounds and all that, the formations that they put up over there. Yeah. And so there have been like cardiac arrest deaths. There have been a guy had his brains like knocked out. There was a homeless guy that went there for shelter and froze to death. So they've been like, and you could sit there, like I have a spirit box on my phone. And so we'll sit there and talk to them and they'll tell us like their names and how they died. And,
I don't do things that you can't shoot.
Yeah.
If you can't shoot them, then I don't want to mess with them.
But you hear, like my cousin, she's huge into like paranormal investigation and stuff. So her and one of her friends, they came to my job. We met up at like 8:00 at night and we went through different parts. Like in my old office, you could hear people walking and talking up above me and the floors would creak and all that. And so we got a conversation, no lie. My aunt was down.
Ghostbusters.
Look, my aunt was upstairs talking, like yelling, and you're gonna get out of here, you're gonna leave my niece alone. Like she's saying his prayers over me and all this and that. While me and my cousin are downstairs and we had a speaker box on. This part's creepy. It came across the speaker box, like words we didn't know. It said fire. We knew that word. Okay, maybe I should start. It said fire. It said accident. It said Virgil. I'm sorry, I don't remember that name. But so this was the stuff. So while my aunt's up there, we're getting these come across the speaker box. So my cousin was writing them down. And when my aunt came back down, she was like, "Hey," she was like, "We were talking to this thing down here, and it's like sound like were you like?" It said angry, and we could hear my aunt, so we knew she was like loud with the spirit. And we were like, "Were you yelling at?" She's like, "Yes, I'm telling you, you're gonna leave my niece alone, blah blah blah." And so fast forward like over the weekend. she was real big into the VA. You know what I'm talking about, like the moose lodges and stuff. So she was real big into those, and she would go shoot pool, like especially back when yeah. So she would shoot pool all the time with these and hang out with all these different like older veterans, older people, not just men. Right. Try to make herself like so anyway, so I read a story at one of the moose lodges over, I think it was Bessemer City, a guy that lived like right on the property. He lived in his camper. It caught on fire and burned, and his name was whatever had came across the speaker box, y'all.
Oh, that's crazy.
And so I texted my aunt as soon as I saw my aunt, my cousin. I'm like, y'all, hello. And I asked my aunt, I was like, did you know him? She was like, yeah. She was like, he was one of our regulars. Wow. She knew him. And I'm like, oh my gosh, we're sitting here, you're yelling at the spirit to leave me alone. And it's sitting here trying to help us prevent this man's death. And we're like, hey, go away. It's so bad.
That's crazy.
But my dad, no lie. My dad died last January, last year. And so a couple of days after my dad died, I'm in my office at work, and like I said, my dad always wore Stetson cologne. Like that was for every Christmas. Every Christmas, he would get at least 3-4 bottles of Stetson cologne. We would all and horse calendars because that's so. All of a sudden, I'm just sitting there by myself. It's like 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And I just smelled his cologne. Like I smelled the Stetson cologne. And so I was like, okay. So I took my one cell phone that has the speaker box on it, turned it on, just let it scan the radio frequencies. And I had my other one and I was recording my phone on the table. And you hear me say, hey dad, and then it scans through and then it says, hey Heather, and it was my dad's voice. Like my dad had cancer, and so towards the end with all the radiation and the chemo and everything, he had lost his voice really bad, so he was just barely a whisper. And you hear him healthy dad say, hey Heather. That right there, that did it for me. That and the fact that there's been a couple of times that I was like, all right dad, play me one of your songs, and it'll play Meatloaf or something random that I knew my dad loved. Wow. But that stuff right there, that's gets me. Yeah, it gets me. And everybody I listened to it because right after my dad's death, it was hard, and so I'm like, yeah, maybe I'm just hearing stuff, but it was clear as day. And so I was letting everybody say, I do. It's at home. I took it off my cell phone because we got balled out, our company, so I didn't know if they were gonna make me turn my phone off. But I have it at home. I'll record it off my computer at home and let y'all hear it. But you can hear everybody that didn't even know my dad. I've let them listen to it. They're like, oh my God, it says hey Heather. And then my mom, my aunts, my brothers, everybody that's heard it's like, yeah, that's dad. It's his voice. Pre-cancer, it was my dad's healthy voice. So.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
That is crazy. Yeah. But you saying that made me think of something else. You were talking about his cologne. Yeah. That's one thing in that book that they were talking about smells. He could recognize people by smells. Yeah. He couldn't recognize by face.
I guess if you, you don't have the sense, all your other senses are heightened to make up for it.
Yeah. Would you not be able to tell by a voice though?
Yeah, I would say unless there's all your other senses should be heightened. I didn't read the book, but so I want to
now. So yeah, really good.
I thought so, yeah.
Yeah. So next, and I've already started listening to this one.
I just finished it today.
Did you?
I did.
Okay.
It's totally different than anything we've read recently. Yes. It's like a good beach read.
Yes. So it is called Regrets Only by Erin Duffy.
Yes.
And as always, our book lists are on our social medias.
Yes.
That is posted there, and we're working on our next one. So if you do have recommendations on a book, anybody listening, let us know so we can add them. I do have some people that have messaged me, so we're getting those added. Nice. Some recommendations, to the list.
Good. Yeah, this one is definitely nothing like what we've been reading.
Yeah. It's a nice switch.
There's no murder.
Yeah. Which, not that I'm opposed to that. I don't mind reading it, but it's nice sometimes to just change gears.
It's a palate cleanser.
Very much so. Very much so. Oh, and Dumb Law. Let's do Louisiana next.
Okay.
Because we haven't done that one yet.
All right.
Dumb Law, Dumb Crab for Louisiana. Okay. So yes, I did add a link on our Facebook pages to a sports broad that I was interested in getting, and I got it. And it looks amazing. Not on. So it's got all these crisscrosses in the back. Lord knows. And I was scared I was going to get tangled up, but to be very, very honest, it was easier to put on than any other sports bra that I had, because the way that they just had a lot more give, but because of that, it wasn't very supportive. Oh, and with me being a bigger chested girl, I need something that's whatever. But I did like the way that I could get it on easy, and it felt good on, it was comfortable. It was not too tight, not too loose. It had good support, but it just did, because the straps just were a little looser. It was not,
your favorite?
My favorite. So I'll still keep it and wear it to, just not to.
But it'd probably be like a good like yoga bra or something like
and
like
I
a
think
very
that's what
like
it is.
chill like workout, not
Yes, but I mean, let's be honest. I don't really do vigorous workouts anyway, so we'll probably be okay to keep. But
It's probably not one to like jump up and down in the stands.
No, I would not wear it to a sports game thinking it was going to do its job. But it did have 3 of the straps on either side that cross, so it did have. If I did pop one strap, I had some reinforcements. But it was
so straight.
I don't know if y'all have ever felt this way, but sometimes putting on like a sports bra or something like that, I almost get claustrophobic.
Yes.
Because you try to put it on and you get like trying to pull it right and get in it and get yourself situated. All of that. It's a lot. So this one went on and off easily.
Nice.
And it was a nice soft material, but not for a vigorous workout.
How many stars?
Well, I'd say I'd give it an 8.
You're too generous with the stars. Are you?
6.
Well, I'm apparently like Facebook's super buyer because I get targeted with everything, every ad, like every other thing is an ad. And I got sucked into the bodysuit, like the viral bodysuit. So it hasn't come yet.
Okay.
I ordered it. I ordered like a 3-pack.
Okay.
So we will see if it really snatches.
You look snatched. Are they one size fits all?
No, they have like small, medium.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, like I think like small was like up to 160, medium was like up to like 240 or something. I mean, it's like a wide range for each size.
No,
but I mean, like the
yes,
like they're like this big, and I'm like,
and
where
they
does that
are
go?
like,
where does that go?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It goes here and here. Pushes the other direction.
So I was walking with my mom, and she's going on a cruise. So I'm like, well, when they come in, you can try it. Like she's smaller, and but she's like, as all
wants to be more snatched.
Yeah. Right. So I said, well, you can try it, and she's like, it's got to come out somewhere.
Yeah.
Where does it it's gonna pop out the bottom or it'll pop out? Well, hopefully it'll pop out the top.
Right.
Yeah. I cannot wait to hear what you say.
Yeah. So once I get it, we can definitely
chat about that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
We can do a review live.
That sounds great. That sounds great.
Awesome.
So the sports bra, I give it. I retract and give it the 6.
Yeah.
Because looked good, washes good, all that kind of stuff, but it just wasn't supportive enough for me.
Right.
That doesn't.
Maybe like a less.
Yeah.
Dusty.
Yes.
Edit that part out. Yeah, maybe a little smaller.
That's going in the blooper reel, isn't it?
Maybe a little smaller chested.
Yes,
maybe
absolutely. Or maybe somebody not as old as me needing as much support. So I'm sure these 105-pound skinny teenage girls would be just right on.
Love it.
Yeah.
So
Speaking of which, have you seen? Did they like let them run around that at the high school, like track and stuff? Were you out there? Were you watching like just sports bra? I don't know. When we were in school, like even like the girls that did like the sports afterwards, they still had to be all the way covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like when our boys were out there the first week of weightlifting and football and stuff, like the track girls were still out there and like you're talking like
no.
It looks basically like bathing suits. And
I wonder if Jackson wanted to go every day.
Right.
I thought he was just really committed.
I'm not saying that they were. I'm not saying like you couldn't. They weren't exposed like butt cheeks, things like that.
Right.
I just couldn't believe it. Like, and I'm talking like 21 years ago. I graduated, but back then, like you couldn't even get like the football games unless the shorts and all that were lower than the fingertips, and it's like things have changed a lot now.
I'm so glad I have a boy.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, but even Macy, like when she was in school, I remember there were times that she got sent home, like they didn't like her shoulders were showing, or they said that you could see a little bit of her belly, and so
now,
it's kind of
Now
like,
those girls are like.
Yeah.
On that note,
I'm gonna tell a story. No, go. It's crazy.
All right. So next week, the book is
Regrets Only.
Okay, and then our state is
Louisiana.
Okay,
it'll be fun.
Yeah, and we'll do the Snoop Dogg cookbook review
and the Snatch bodysuit review.
Hopefully, we'll get here. It's probably coming from China, so who knows what's going on.
We'll see.
If it does what it's supposed to, she might be wearing it in the podcast.
I'll go put it on in the bathroom and we'll see a live review.
Right.
I love it.
For when we add videos to Patreon.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is still a thought. People want the videos. It's crazy.
I mean, I can see, but I can't see.
I know.
I wouldn't want to be like looking at me. Just look at Sour.
I don't want to go
where I awkwardly keep looking at the camera like, oh, it's there.
But I like when I'm editing and like looking at like it's so much funnier to see the reactions of the face than just trying to
just
like,
to hear
it. So I laugh the whole time I'm editing.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Well, thank you to everybody for listening. We really appreciate it. Please give us a review. Please subscribe. Please tell your friends how wonderful we are, especially with our special guest, Heather Shealey. We really appreciate you coming on.
Yes, thank you so much. All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.